my goodness, imagine my surprise. I came back, sat down at my computer, checked my Discord, and what do you know it? My bot was all like, hey look, he's streaming again. And I was like, really? Didn't he just spend most of the last stream whining about not wanting to stream and how he'd constantly threatened to stop the stream if this didn't work or if that didn't download fast enough? Really? Okay, I guess there was another stream. I missed about 20 minutes of it because I was off doing something else. But I got the rest of it, and for all I know, the first 20 minutes wasn't anything good anyway. Who knows? Someone else will have it. We all know it. But anyway, now you'll get to see the stuff I do have, and the stuff I do have includes Troodon, and lots of wandering around in this map, some bits and pieces about, oh, there's a shortcut here, or, ooh, look, fog, some bits about the lighting, all that fun stuff. This version of the branch map thingy-majiggy does not have the anti-gamma on, so every now and again he'll pause and he'll talk about the lighting, this is how it should look, etc, if not for the anti-gamma stuff. So he'll go back to the human area where he was in the prior stream and show off a bit of those lights at one point as well. So yay! Troodon calls will show up, all that fun stuff, but first, all of the walking simulator, you know, most of what the Isle is. So let's go through it together-ish. This isn't gonna match up, we all know it. But anyway, before I go any further, you guys might notice the little Allosaurus I have off to the side that I normally move around quite a bit when I'm talking. I try to have it somewhat match the tone, just to make it a little bit more interesting to look at. I know most people aren't gonna be looking at it, but I look at it, okay? And it matters to me that it moves. However, I have a meeting tomorrow. I can't spend a whole lot of time tonight on this, so I'm not gonna be moving that little guy very much, if at all, during this video, because I simply do not have the time. It takes most of my time editing this actually goes into that little guy, rather than all of the rest. All the rest is really easy. Me going through and listening to it and trying to adjust tone and how long each picture lasts and stuff, that's where my time goes in. Yeah, it's not very efficient. I know, just let me figure this out on my own. I'll get there, man, I'll get there. But, yeah, so I'm not gonna be moving him around as much, if at all, this time. I do not have the time. I need to get this out, because I know you guys are gonna be like, but, bro, it's not here. It's been 2 hours tapping my watch. Where is it? Hold your horses. Vegas keeps hating me, too, so I gotta just... I'll get there, man. I'll get there. So, yes, anyway, he's not gonna be moving very much. Enjoy the rest of it without looking at the little moving man. Or I guess I should say, please ignore the man behind the curtain sort of thing. Yeah, that would be a better one. I should have said that instead. Darn it. But anyway, let's get to the part where you guys are actually here for, and that is the rest of the stream. Speaking of streams, he's gonna talk about some streams and rivers. Let's listen to that.
2 streams to... No. 2 rivers... Hold on. There's a few rivers and they turn into one and then several again. I want to say that there are... let's see. There's one major river, if we follow this up, that goes to the left. And then if you follow it to the right, that river splits in 2. And if you follow this down, this is going to split into 2, which then splits into 3, then goes back into 2, and then goes into the ocean.
So, it sounds like there might be a decent amount of water, which is great news. Missed having lots of areas with lots of water. Like, holy crap. Like in Legacy, for instance, the amount of dinos, minus a few hotspots, like, you know, Titan, and especially Twins, but those are given. But in general, wherever you'd go, there was like a nice spread of dinos back in Legacy. While in Nevrima, it's constantly go to this zone or there's not gonna be anything. And yeah, it's gotten a little bit better over time, but it's because of the water, man. There's just not enough of it. There's not enough spots where you can just kind of spread out. Generally, I'll always find myself in the same few spots, 2 times a year I play. So, this sounds like it might hopefully be a lot better, a little bit more like Legacy, where you can walk around and hopefully not be like, oh great, if I leave this general area, I'm never going to be able to get to water again. And that's not even counting, yes, there's coordinate maps, but you shouldn't need a coordinate map in order to survive a game. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. So we'll see if it's any better in that regard. Like, the amount of thirst dinos lose is the biggest problem, but yeah, it'd be that way, I guess. But anyhow, so hopefully this means more rivers, more streams, more places to actually spread out instead of having to be in the same general area or perish from dehydration. After that, it resumes walking simulator. Woohoo! He does talk about the fog. He was keeping it foggy purposely to avoid showing stuff in the distance. However, it kept trying to undo the fog. It reminds me again of, I think Minecraft did the same thing, come to think of it, but mostly Ark, where I would put in the console command to stop, say, the thunderstorm or whatever because we were trying to do something and it was a little hard to see, so, okay, no thunderstorms for now. And then it would clear it up, but then it would try to do it again just a few moments after, and it kept doing that and doing that and doing that. Now I'm like, oh, this is Unreal Engine. That was Unreal Engine. I guess it's a thing that the engine loves to do. I always thought it was an Ark thing, but now I'm like, I guess it was an entire engine thing, because it keeps happening here as well. So I found that pretty interesting, pretty amusing. And then as he's going around here, he was discussing how this area used to be completely different. Apparently it used to be the spooky jungle and whatever. He'll explain it in a moment. But he went around in first person because it used to be a spooky jungle, and then he was surprised when it wasn't a spooky jungle. And then he mentions that apparently it was changed within the last week or so. So that was pretty interesting. Active changes in the map. Right fresh from the oven. Amazing. So he'll walk around in that area for a little bit. I'll let you guys hear the jungle thing explanation.
Yeah, so this was originally this is a corner that on the routes that people take around the island, they always say made them super uncomfortable. You just had this nice clearing over here. I think there's a mud pool back here, like near the corner over there. But yeah, there was just this jungle. You can see it behind those behind these trees in the field. There's just such a nice spot. Literally, the largest creatures in the game can just stand right there, and you can't see them. And you have to walk by this if you wanna come to the southeastern plateaus area. You have to take this road, and oh boy. Just kind of nervously stare at that tree line.
So that was the explanation. And for those of you who are like, but wait, if you have to travel through here, doesn't that mean a bunch of T-Rexes or whatever are just gonna, block this area and go, hey man, we're just gonna kill you because you have to go past us in order to get to this other location. Sorry. Well, this next bit is for you.
This is, for those of you that are going to commit this to memory, that's the shortcut to the rivers. So when people are being troll poles and making people die to cross the bridge, you don't have to take the bridge, you can just go through these rocks.
It was thought of for once. Awesome. So maybe a little bit less, little bit less of that sort of stuff happening, but I'm sure it still will, because I mean, hey, a lot of people don't look around and they won't notice the shortcut, so it'll still be free pickings for quite a few people, I'm sure. But moving on, it was a lot of walking in the same general area. I'm gonna cut it because 1, time, and 2, it was basically the same thing again and again. You'll be able to see it in someone else's video. But for now, I'm gonna scoot it on along to him talking about the walls, and then we can go on to something else.
So, fun fact, because this guy, this fence line's not angled correctly, so I don't mind showing this. But if you notice, on these, I'm sure some of you have seen like the cut-off versions and all that. Look at that big old hole there. Yeah, I know. You're metal and you creak. Proud of you. You can actually see inside of this, and for those of you who have been paying attention for a very long time, you'll also know that there are versions with this closed off, and that is because the versions with these open, we fully intend for you to be able to get inside of. So, yes, this is exactly what you think it is. Stand inside of it, stick the gun out, and shoot at the big thing that can't do anything about it.
So we're just gonna scoot right on along from the cool metal things to more path. Again, it was a whole bunch of walking through the fog, but I wanted to include a decent amount because I'm going to assume this is the new map. I missed the first chunk of the stream, but I think it's pretty, I assume, safe to say it's the new map. I don't know. It could just be a new portion of the current map. I haven't been up to date on the current map anyway. Regardless, it had fog and apparently stuff in the distance that he didn't want seen, so I'm gonna assume it's the new map. So moving on, a very cool log that the little guys can indeed hide within. He was very specific, yes, little things can crawl under them. So there you go, finally somewhere to hide as a little baby. Granted, you'll probably just get waited out until, you know, but it's still at least somewhere to go, like finally a log you can squeeze under / into. I've wanted for so long to be able to go into some logs on the ground because there's some decent sized logs on the ground, and I'm like, oh man, why can't we go into these? But so finally something that you can kind of get into. I assume you'll be trapped forever if you grow in there and suddenly can't get out. But, I mean, hey, I guess that happens enough in the rest of the map. With all those spots you can get stuck in, and then you just kind of have to go, well, I guess this is how I die. After this is a little bit more of the map explanation going on, so I'm gonna let that play out so you guys can listen to it, because I assume these locations are going to be pretty important for humans, which of course means us little itty bitty dinos are going to want to be going over there every so often, so here you go.
Now, when we went through the gate, if we went immediately right, there's a shortcut there to K15, and I'm afraid if I just wander off into the jungle now, I will get completely lost. So, if you take the roads in this, it adds about, well, depending on your speed, it takes a considerable extra amount of time to get to wherever you're going. K15 is a grid designation to resupply points. K15, D10, so on and so forth. Oh, so as it gets dark, there's going to be this this little orbit of darkness around me that's going to get wider and wider. I think you might be able to see it as time passes if we just stare. Whatever. It's not going to be worth it. Point is, that's going to be a remnant because, you know, game thinks I'm a dinosaur. and so it's trying to compensate by saying, hey dummy, turn on night vision. We don't have that.
There was also a bit on, you know, the remnants of night vision and all that stuff being there still. It's pretty interesting. I was initially going to cut it off after the map explanation, but then he kept going on about the night vision orb, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. So I kept that in as well. It's just an interesting little tidbit. I mean, it's something we kind of figured was going on from what we saw of the prior stuff, but it's still neat to hear, so there you guys go. But let's not wait too long. Let's get on to the part we actually really want to see.
Also, this is not indicative of his night vision, so relax.
Troodon! Yay! I'll be sure to pop in every now and again with its little sounds and stuff, of course, because he makes a cute sound when he jumps. And every now and again, Dondi does press some of the calls, so there's that too. But, Troodon! Again, this isn't as fast as he's going to go, so do keep in mind this was mostly just for, you know, traveling purposes. He's trying to get to one point to another quickly, well, from one point to another quickly, so he kept Troodon very, very fast. Again, speed doesn't even match up with the animations, not final, blah blah blah. Night vision also not final, so there we go. It does make me wonder how Troodon's gonna end up seeing with night vision, but I guess we will have to wait and find out. But anyhow, we get a nice look of parts of the map as Troodon from itty bitty perspective, and he does look up every now and again, and he does toggle the night vision, but at one point while looking up, he does make this comment.
We're totally gonna have to see if we can put like a ceiling on how high up you can see with night vision.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not with Troodon, but it did kind of hit me. I looked over and I was like, you know, that really, really looks like the perfect spot. It does.
So all you Harara fans out there, yay! Hopefully you'll be able to jump from that distance and not instantly die on impact, because honestly I wasn't sure if that was going to be allowed or not. So like in Left 4 Dead, for instance, you can totally... There's no fall damage for the infected except for the boomer, to an extent, and then he'll go explode. But aside from him, there's no real fall damage for the special infected, especially in verses and whatnot. Actually, now that I think of it, did the boomer have... No, did he? It's been so long. Honestly, I can't really remember. I haven't played verses in eons, but we're not here for that. Anyway, the hunter could pounce from the top of a skyscraper and all the way down onto a survivor if he was, you know, skilled enough to do so. However, because of the design choices this game has gone for, I was like, there's no way Harara is going to be able to jump out of a tree and actually land on something. He's going to just take fall damage and die. Like, even if you were to land on something, it'd still hurt a lot. So I figured he's only going to be able to do it from short distances. Because, yeah, most of the stuff in this game, and some of the comments from the devs make it sound like, yeah, he can still definitely take fall damage, he can definitely die if he's not careful. So I was like, oh, so he can't fall from a tree? Well, not fall, but pounce from a tree to hit something? Now, it could end up being, if he hits something, he doesn't take the damage. If he doesn't hit something, he'll just ragdoll and die. I don't know, and that's going again into the realm of, well, what if? Which I'm gonna try to avoid as much as I possibly can. However, this part was very interesting for that reason, because, again, I had been given the impression, judging from all the other stuff we'd heard thus far, that Harara wasn't gonna be able to jump from very far, because fall damage still exists for him. It's probably gonna be greatly reduced, but it still exists, and a tree this high, yeah, not in my wildest imagination did I think he would be allowed to jump it. I have no problems with that. Like, don't get me wrong, don't think this is me complaining and going, oh, it's not realistic, you shouldn't be able to do that. No, it's a game, and I'm totally fine with that. It's more because of the quote-unquote realism that the game tries to do, and the comments, again, that we've seen, I didn't think that Harara would be allowed to do that. But if he is, that's great. Again, totally no problems, that would be awesome. It'll remind me of my Left 4 Dead days back in the day. I loved Hunter so much, but I sucked as Hunter. Like, I was terrible. He's a little itty-bitty glass cannon boy, and I was not good at it. Smoker and Spitter were my best. Mostly the Spitter. But, I mean, in theory, Spitter's pretty easy, and so is Boomer. Boomer was my... yeah, that was the one I was the best at in Left 4 Dead back before the Spitter came about. But no one's interested in that. Let's go on a little bit further.
Alas, I did not. But we have arrived at our destination. And so we have gotten to K15.
And here we are, the human zone TM. Now this is the point where I'm pretty sure I have it in, and I'll play it shortly if it is still in, pretty sure. But he's going to talk about how the lights look now versus the prior stream that you guys all saw, and if you guys remember, it was basically a very, very direct cone of light over certain spots, because it wasn't allowed to fade very much. And in contrast, this is quite a wide cone of light, and you can actually see pretty well, so very nice, especially in the building that he'll walk by a little bit later, where it's fully lit up, and you can definitely see inside of it. That was the building I'm pretty sure that he was standing in front of in the prior stream. That was almost completely dark, you could barely see inside of it. So that's definitely a big difference.
So, for those of you that caught the stream prior, and you saw the flashlight and the lights and everything that cut off, this is what it looks like when your lights don't have to do this, because people can't play without needing every advantage possible because they're weak.
And after that, he starts going around inside the buildings a little bit. Nice little Troodon view of the buildings. And there should be a little jumpy jump sound coming up here shortly, so I'll quiet down and let that play.
Nice.
Isn't that cute? I love it so much. It's such a cute little sound. Just a little whoop as he jumps. Ugh. Adorable. I really like Troodon. I didn't think I would like Troodon as much as I do, but I really do enjoy like the colors, the design, all around. I really, really like this little guy. He's just so cute. I'm excited to try him out. Even if, you know, it's not gonna turn out too great because I only do solo, but who knows? Maybe Troodon packs will actually be fun. I never went into Utah packs because those sucked every single time I saw them, and I didn't really play Utah on Legacy anyway, and in Vrima I sure didn't join any packs, so yeah. We'll see. That'll imply I actually play the game for more than like 2 hours every half year, so we'll see how that goes. I'd like to hope that by then it'll be a little bit more entertaining, but we'll see how it goes, I guess. Here, let's have some cute little Troodon sounds. What a cute little man. So those were the rest of the sounds, and he stood around for quite a while talking, and then eventually he started going around the facility a little bit more, and now this part I found quite interesting.
So this guy can't even get through the front if it's closed. He's got to go through either one of the open back doors, or you gotta line it up and don't be trash like me.
Makes sense that Troodon wouldn't be able to, push open the gate, so yeah, he's got to find some extra spots. I wonder if all of them are gonna have a giant hole in the side, or what? Not quite sure about that. Like, I imagine once humans eventually get the ability to fix up areas that there won't be a giant gaping hole in the fence, and that there's gonna have to be other ways that Troodon can sneak in. But I guess for the time being, just hop through the little hole, I guess. Very neat. And then some more cute little hopping sounds. Again, there were probably some I didn't include or didn't notice or whatever, but I love those little sounds so much. They're so cute. Like, just the little whoop. Adorable. Anyway, the next building you see is indeed, I'm pretty darn sure, the one where he was standing in front of the last time, where you could barely see inside of it and stuff. So yeah, you can definitely see a pretty darn big difference between the prior stream and this one. Runs into the woods for a while, etc, etc. That was basically it. Well, except for this one part.
I'm gonna go start fetching the progress pictures that we had from our various iterations of night vision from Wednesday until now, so I can go post those in phase 3. I just figured you all would appreciate a little stroll with me while I was looking at some anti-gamma stuff, but everything else I'm gonna start looking at is all that fun you don't get to see stuff, because I don't share much anymore.
Don't you worry, I'll keep prodding him.
And for those of you that are going to take my whole stream and put it on your YouTube and call it content, don't. That's gross. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I wonder who's off doing that. I've only ever seen the edited streams. I haven't seen anyone post, one-to-ones in, like, years. There was another news channel before this one, I'm talking after Ravenous and before mine. There was one in between. I think it was literally called Isle News, or The Isle News, which is part of why my one has the updates at the end, because the other one was already taken. But yeah, I think that one posted like one-to-one the whole stream, but I haven't seen it since then. I mean, there's probably still channels that do it somewhere, but they're not plainly obvious. Like, because of what I upload and end up clicking on, YouTube will often suggest various, stream ones, and they're always significantly shorter than the stream itself, so I can say for 100% fact without even having to watch it that it's not even close. But apparently someone out there is still doing it, I guess, that these guys managed to see. Whereas with mine, they didn't see it for about 2 years. But apparently there's still someone out there doing it. So I guess good on you for getting noticed, and YouTube doesn't recommend you though. So, hey man, keep it up. I hope my watchers have been able to find you at least, because I sure as heck can't do anything like that. But it sounds like Phase 3 will finally be able to get those pictures that they promised yesterday or the day before of the prior stream, that the pictures were supposed to be up for the people who missed the stream, but they're still not there. I thought those were gonna go up right after the stream. It's not hard to harvest a few pictures, a few screenshots, some pebbles for the poor, the people who couldn't waste all their time watching a stream. Yeah, those guys. Sorry guys, I guess, but anyhow, it sounds like you guys might finally get the Phase 3 pictures, so that would be cool. It sounds like it'll be a progression sort of thing, this is what the night vision looked before, this is after, this is all the little bits in between. I don't know how many bits in between there will be, I don't know what they'll look like or anything like that. I hope it's a significant amount, because I'd like to see how they got from what we had before, which was absolute trash and everyone despised it, to what we have now, where generally speaking, I think all the stuff I've seen in the feedback area, granted I haven't looked as much lately because I've been busy, but what I did see was very, very positive. Like, a lot of people really, really liked it. Whereas before, I didn't have to look much at all, and it was all people really, really upset. Gee, I can't blame them. But anyhow. So, we'll see. I'm curious to see how they got from A to B, explain your work, teacher style sort of thing. So we'll see how much we actually get to see. I don't know how much, if any, because, I mean, there was the time where, way back, I think it was around the rehaul stages, in one of the dev blogs they had mentioned with Theory they would use that creature as the, a sort of glimpse into the various steps of making a creature, like all the little nitty-gritty bitties. I'd have to go back to the dev blog. You guys know the one. You guys will have it on hand. You guys are much better at this than I am. However, it was a dev blog, showed off the Theory's concept, I think, for the first time. And I think it was Kissin who had said that this would be used to show the community just how much work goes into these creatures. We haven't heard a piece of that since then, and we've already seen the Theory's model. And there's been some talk about, you know, how it was modeled first nude, and then the feathers were added afterwards, because it's just overall easier when the muscle definition and stuff is already there. We've seen bits of that, but we haven't really seen much else. And, like, the process of how they decided this design was what they'd go for with the Theory and all that stuff. Like, I thought that was the point of what they said before. I could be completely mistaken, but that's how I read it back when I read it. Granted, it's been, how long? 2 years since that dev blog? I don't even know if these guys remember posting that anymore. I don't know. But anyway, granted, Theory isn't exactly something they're working on much, but we just haven't really heard about it at all. And I thought that was the point of using Theory, that, hey, you guys will get to see all of this stuff. Meanwhile, all the other stuff is going on. But I guess not. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But that's it. It was a very, very short stream. Like, very short. I don't remember how long the recording I had for was, and I don't know how long will end up actually being in the video itself, because there's points where he stands still, there's points where there's just no point in keeping it because it's all samey, etc, etc. You guys know the drill. I've gone through a lot of times by now how I choose what I choose. And again, other people who upload will have other versions of the stream. Highly recommend going and looking at those guys, because they're gonna have different stuff than what I have. I tend to cut back a little bit more, especially on the audio. The audio is what's gonna get me. That's gonna be the whole, oh no, you're posting the entire stream 1-to-1, even though it's over an hour shorter than the original stream. Overall, back to the stream, I think it was pretty good. It was alright. It was very short, but we got to see a lot about Troodon. Well, a lot as in, you know, running around. We got to see some calls and the cute little hopping sound. I love that little one. But, lots of what I assume is the new map. I don't know. Might be, might not be. I missed the start. I don't know. I'm just going to assume, like, all of the rest. So I assume new map, especially talking about the rivers and stuff. I would assume new map, unless it's a whole new section of the other map that's going to be unlocked, which I doubt, because we haven't heard anything about that in Neons. Aside from new map in works, sort of thing. So, again, I assume, don't know, and at this point I don't even really care. It is just what it is, and we will see it when we see it, which I think, Didn't someone say Philippe was saying it was aiming to be this year that the new map was released? I think I had that in a video alongside someone asking about the river foliage for the Pingu. Because if Pingu's coming out, then we definitely need stuff in the river for it to hide in. Oh boy. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Because Pingu's coming up next. I'm pretty darn sure. Well, not... I mean, I don't mean to say next because Troodon might still be the one to come next. But as far as the, it was always between Strato and Pingu. As to which might be either between the prior update and Troodon, or between Troodon and whatever else comes in the future. And it looks like it's going to be Pingu because its status on the roadmap was changed and it's got a whole bunch of stuff added to it recently. It looks like it's pretty darn close to complete. So we'll see when Pingu shows up. So yeah. New stuff, new things, some fog, all the good stuff. I think that's about it for me. I am done. Gotta edit all this. And then crash. I have to meet my boss tomorrow. Oh my gosh, there's so much to do. Speaking of which, before I forget actually, I keep saying the assets you're seeing right now, the art the bad art that I made, those should hopefully be replaced soon. I've been working with an artist, but there's been a lot of stuff going on for both of us, and it's taken a lot longer than usual. Life's just... I mean, you guys know how it is. Life sucks sometimes, and you can't really do much about it. So there's been a lot of delays, but I think we're finally getting close, and assuming there's no other streams very, very soon after the prior ones, I might have the new assets finally. But we'll see. Life sucks. There's been a lot going on. We'll just have to see. I can't promise anything. That's why I don't talk about it very much. I said it in the first video, and I don't think I've mentioned it since, but I think it's getting close, TM. So I'll mention it again. I'm still hoping to get these replaced. These weren't intended to ever be used like this. I was doing this for something else, and that's why it's the Allosaurus and not the Ceratosaurus, and that's why there's only a few things, because I was working on something else and I morphed it into doing this in order to quickly scrounge something to use for this, but... oh boy. At least some of you seem to really like it, and I appreciate those comments a lot. I saw some people saying it was really cute, and that did make me happy. I'm not proud of my art, which is why I don't show it off. But I had to use it because I didn't have any other choice right now. But I'm getting someone who actually knows what they're friggin' doing to make something for me, and we'll work on that as best we can. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. Anyhow, it is finally time for me to go like I was trying to do, and then I just remembered the thing, and anyway, it's time. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day, night, all that stuff. Enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.
Thank you.